The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Best-selling book. You might have read it before. I was here eating breakfast and I decided to read it again. I read it a few years ago. It's one of those books you should pick up more than once, and I really enjoyed it this time. There's a lot of stuff I agree with in that book. There's a few things that I differ with and might be a little outdated now, but if you haven't read it, you know, one of the premises and the things that I agree with a lot with Tim Ferriss is that at the end of the day, life is about whether you enjoy the day-to-day moments. I call it lifestyle. You can call it whatever you want to call it. By the way, I'm here at my vacation place in Oslo, Norway, so it looks a little different than California. But I was thinking, you know, and this vacation house reminded me a little bit of the 4-Hour Workweek. Just one of the things that the book talks about is how you can work less, be more productive, travel the world, live anywhere. And I've actually been talking a lot on that. Like I said, I have a slightly different philosophy, but the end result I think is similar to what Tim Ferriss is trying to say with his book, which is life that you design, that you enjoy. And I'll tell you, you know, one of the most common questions I get is, what would you tell your 19-year-old self again? And one of the things is, be very careful of the slippery slope of saying, next month I'll like that. Like, next month I'll do that thing that I like. This is probably the most precarious of all mindsets. And so a lot of people, I did this little poll, if you're on my Snapchat, you might have seen it last week, and it said, would you rather make $3 grand a month traveling the world doing what you love, or $100,000 a month in a job you despise and you have to work at it for 5 years? And it was quite a disparity, obviously, 3,000 versus 100,000. So the one, you're gonna make $5 million in 5 years. The other one, you're gonna make, you know, maybe 150,000 in 5 years, so maybe 200,000. And more people, it was fairly close, but a few, I would say it was like 20% more people would say they'd take the job that they like. But that's just a poll. If you look at the average person's lives, people are biased towards the mindset, like I said, of going, well, I'm going to do what I don't like in order to save up some money to do what I do love. And Pablo Picasso has a great quote on this. Can you pull up that Pablo Picasso dichotomy quote? Try to read you the whole thing. I memorized the first half, but the second half's good too. And basically, this dichotomy becomes a trap, and the trap, you end up never getting to the stuff you like. So in this book, The 4-Hour Workweek, oh, here's the quote here. Thank you. Never permit a dichotomy to rule your life, a dichotomy in which you hate what you do so you can have pleasure in your spare time. Look for a situation in which your work will give you as much happiness as your spare time. That's Pablo Picasso's version of the 4-Hour Workweek, or what I call, you know, the good life. Health, wealth, love, happiness. Those 4 pillars. Now, I think that the 4-Hour Workweek is much more, this book in particular, is much more on the wealth aspect. I think Tim Ferriss has some other books like 4-Hour Body, which is him talking about, you know, physical health. I don't think he has a book on relationships and love. I think that's a huge one. That third pillar, relationships, love, that one, if you get that one wrong, it ends up destroying all the other 4. I mean the other 3. It destroys, obviously, physical health when you're under stress and you're not around people you like. It destroys your wealth, because no matter how much money you can hoard, how much you can accumulate, if you don't like the people you're around, you go against the very nature of a human, which is a social being. There's a lot of science. Matt Lieberman, the UCLA professor, has written a lot about that in his book Social, talking about how social life is primarily what our brain's wired to do. Most of the key triggers to happiness or depression come from social life. So that's, you know, this third pillar. And then the 4th pillar is kind of the spiritual happiness accumulation. If you get the first 3 right, health, wealth, love, then you'll hopefully, most of the time, have a lot of happiness in your life. Now, one chapter in this book that I thought was great, on page, actually, let me pull it up here. I took a picture of it. This is Norway. You can see the fort over there. That's an island, little harbor. There's some huge cruise ships that come in there. I set up my gym over here. I'll take you. Here's it's a it's a 2-floor flat in a place called Sjuvholmen. There's the upstairs. Over here I set up a little gym, get some sun, work out, a little basic gym, little Sylvester Stallone Rocky gym. And I've done a lot of lifestyle engineering here. I got a chef that cooks food and makes me meal prep in the morning, leaves it outside my door here in these condos, and so I'm always working towards that lifestyle. And each person's lifestyle, let me say, will be different. I mean, people get this confused. There's not a one size fits all. Like, I like Norway. Some people, my friends, like Brazil. You know, so set up your vacation homes in places you like. Here's what Tim Ferriss says in 4-Hour Workweek. Step 1, pick an affordably reachable niche market. And he has a quote from Joan Chen. When I was younger, I didn't want to be pigeonholed. Basically, now you want to be pigeonholed. It's your niche. And then Tim says, creating demand is hard. Filling demand is much easier. Don't create a product, then seek someone to sell it to. Find a market, define your customers, then find or develop a product for them. So he's all about reverse engineering your income. And I'm going to be talking a lot in the next weeks and months on this concept of how can you travel the world and get paid to have fun, and to get paid to what you enjoy. And I think one of the things, and Tim Ferriss talks about in his book, and there's a lot of people have written about it and worked on things since this book came out, what I call location neutral income sources. So I think there's multiple steps. I'm actually going to release some videos and some live calls on this, but that's one of the most important things. And there's a concept called the U economy, where non-9-to-5 jobs that now exist, whether they're Uber drivers or people who are designers on 99 Designs, and people who do piecemeal work on Fiverr, and people who do stuff on Postmates, or all kinds. There's even a company here in Norway, a friend of mine, she needs some extra money, she rides a bike and delivers food. So these are location neutral. Obviously, if you're an Uber driver, it demands a location, but you could go anywhere and drive Uber, or you could go anywhere and, if you have some skills, do some freelance work for people depending on your skill set. So this is a whole nother conversation. I just thought I'd talk about this 99 Designs and the focus on lifestyle. And in the world now, especially the media, I mean, the focus is all over the place. The focus is on Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and politics. The focus is on terrorism and stabbings, and the lack of health care and education and poverty and all this stuff. But people forget poverty of lifestyle is more important to focus on than poverty of bank account, because you can have a wealthy bank account and a poor lifestyle. I've seen it. And obviously you can have not as much money, not as high income, but have a wealthy lifestyle, especially when you run it through the filter of health, wealth, love, and happiness. So yeah, what's your ideal situation? What would be your bliss? Would it be traveling the world once a month, 1 month out of the year, every day? Would it be, I mean, some people like to stay in one place. Some people don't need a location neutral income. How much do you need? What would be your version of 4-Hour Workweek? Leave that as a comment below, and make sure you're checking my Snapchat, and now Instagram has a feed. If you want to see my Instagram story, just go to my @Tai Lopez. It's a verified Instagram, and click the little my profile picture. You can see my story. It's kind of cool. So my cousin Maya's here working. Say hi, Maya.
Hi.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Something. All right, talk to you guys soon.